Welcome to Out of the Box, a program focused on electrical technology innovations with you in mind. Hello, I'm Jim McNeil. You know, when designing and installing electrical products for hazardous locations, I'm focused on three things: safety, installed cost, and how long the product will last in some of these harsh environments. That's why when I saw this product, I knew it would be perfect for the show. So I'd like to welcome Steve from STAHL. Steve, what have you got for us today?
Jim, as you know, every installation has to deal with control. Whether it's a start-stop, selector switch, emergency button, pilot lights, you see them in every process facility.
Oh, don't I know it? I've installed quite a few of them.
Well, over the years, we've seen two key technological improvements. One has been around a little while, the other one's a bit more recent.
Okay, what would those be?
Well, Jim, the first innovation was the move to factory-sealed control stations. With older generations of control stations, you needed to have conduit seals. Now, those are very expensive, very time-consuming fittings, and you needed to install them within 18 inches of the station itself. Today, control stations like this one from STAHL don't require a seal.
Yeah, I get that. Factory sealed is definitely the way to go. For me, it saves material and labor with minimal additional cost. What's the other change?
Well, the other change is really a change in the way we do business. In the old days, most construction was designed around a Class 1 Division 1 model, so it was typical to see an environment like this just littered with heavy cast metal products like this. As processes improved, however, trends changed to a Class 1 Division 2 environment.
Right. The difference being that in a Division 1 environment, the hazardous gas mixture could be present under a normal operating condition. In the Division 2 environment, you can have a hazardous gas mixture only in an abnormal operating condition.
That's right. But a lot of people haven't caught up with the times yet. Today, about 85% of classified areas are now Division 2. There have been huge technological advances on Division 2 products that are now available to designers and installers.
But we still have a lot of folks using Division 1 rated equipment in Division 2 locations. I see. So, let's take a look at what you've got.
All right. Well, you can hold on to this one.
Okay.
While I take the one from STAHL.
Okay. I can see right away this is a heavy unit.
Right? That single unit right there weighs in at about 8 pounds. Now think about how that weight impacts both the installer and the installation.
What do you mean?
Well, imagine installing a dozen of those. You're hauling around close to about 100 pounds. Think about skid manufacturers and their freight costs. Or think about weight-sensitive areas like ships and platforms.
Yeah, there are a lot of reasons that lighter is better. So what does a STAHL box weigh?
Just under 1.5 pounds.
So one of these cast boxes weighs more than 5 of the STAHL control stations?
Yeah, and take a look at the profile. Okay, this slimmer profile has its advantages. In walkways, you want to minimize profile, so there's less of a chance of someone or something hitting the station.
Yeah, sure. I mean, when things stick out, they're just more likely to get damaged or get in the way. It's a safety hazard. And that lighter box has got to be a lot easier to work with. But it's not metal. How can you make an explosion-proof control that's not made out of cast metal?
Here's the difference. On these big metal boxes, the housing itself is the containment for any possible explosion.
Of course, you've got the exposed parts inside.
Right, but STAHL has come up with a way to create controls where the containment is done inside the device itself.
So you don't need a big cast box or conduit seal?
Nope. The device itself does the containment.
How can you do that?
Well, I'm not going to go into all the engineering, Jim, but basically, the switching device inside where an arc could occur is completely encapsulated. It's completely enclosed. So the explosion is contained within the contact block itself.
That is ingenious. And now, did I just see you pop that out of the box?
Yep. All it takes is a screwdriver, and you can use the same one you used to open the box.
So you don't have to hunt around for a bunch of different tools.
Yeah, and here's another feature. The wiring is not done on the cover like traditional cast control stations. You can actually place the cover down and wire right in the box.
That answers the issue I struggled with. I'm holding a cover, a screwdriver, and wires, but I only have 2 hands.
That's right. Now check this out.
Oh, you dropped something there.
On many of these traditional boxes here, you've got these loose bolts. They're a huge frustration. You can only take them out with a flathead screwdriver, and then you got to find some place to put the bolts.
You know, I've been working on the old style boxes and had these bolts just fall into other equipment. They get lost. And then, some guys, not me of course, put the box back together without all the bolts. There goes your safety protection.
Well, with the STAHL solution, the bolts are captive, so they're not going anywhere. And with the STAHL Tri-Drive, you've always got the right screwdriver because you can use a Phillips, a flathead, or an Allen wrench.
Now, I see that the older style has threads drilled right into the cast iron. Now, those can easily get cross-threaded, and that's a safety failure.
Plus, there's a chance for corrosion. The STAHL box uses stainless steel bolts, so they resist corrosion.
Well, I can see that they go into brass inserts.
And the STAHL bolts only take 4 turns to secure, compared to 7 or even 10 on other boxes.
Man, that really is a smart solution. But we're talking safety here. The STAHL box itself is not metal. How's that going to hold up?
Jim, it's been thoroughly tested and proven. The STAHL solution is completely certified to be used anywhere in North America or around the world for Div 2 or Zone 1 or Zone 2 applications. Plus, it also meets all NEC, CEC, and IEC certifications.
Oh, that's great for skid makers.
Russia, Africa, Canada, US, Europe, anywhere. And as I said, the box itself is not the containment enclosure, but it still is a very strong box.
Can you prove that?
Thought you'd never ask. I've set up a little demonstration in the parking lot. We're about to run over the STAHL box with a 3,000-pound vehicle.
Good luck. Remember, folks, don't try this at home.
Will you take a look at that? The STAHL solution not only survived intact, the buttons still worked perfectly.
Man, that is amazing. What is this stuff made of?
That, my friend, is a high-impact fiberglass reinforced polyester. We call it FRP for short.
Well, some amazing stuff. Now, if I'm speccing out a project, say, as a design engineer, how is this STAHL solution going to make my life better?
Well, Jim, for one thing, it's the right tool for the job. It's designed for Class 1 Div 2, so that covers the vast majority of installations in North America. The smaller profile, the lighter weight, they give you a lot of advantages.
Such as?
Well, the STAHL control stations are easier to work with. They resist corrosion, so they have a longer useful life, fewer moving parts. They even resist UV rays.
So how much labor time can you really save with these control stations from STAHL?
Well, look at it this way. It takes over an hour on average to service a traditional control station. You might even need a hot work permit to open it up because the box is the containment vessel. And then you run a real safety risk with all these bolts.
That's a lot of non-productive time.
But with the STAHL solution, you can do the same job in about 15 minutes. Now, if you're getting paid by the hour, you might not like that. But if you're the one doing the paying, wouldn't it be great to pay a quarter as much for the cost of labor?
Mm-hmm. Or have 1/4 as much downtime, or get 4 times as much maintenance done in the same time.
Without compromising safety.
I was going to ask what's in it for me, but I think I just found out. But I do have one more question. Haven't seen a lot of these around. How do I know how it's going to work in the long run? Where's the track record?
Good question. Jim, these FRP devices have been proven in the field all over the world for the past 25 years. They resist corrosion better than metal, so they're great for corrosive environments. They're already the industry standard in Europe, so there's the long track record.
All right. Now, is this 2-button version the only configuration STAHL has?
Far from it. You can custom order any configuration you can imagine. And since the protection is in the modules, you don't need a cast housing.
Well, what if you need more controls in one box, like a larger control panel?
Well, check this out. You can use this technology for entire panels. STAHL offers these in stainless, FRP, or painted steel. You can really see the difference here from this other unit. Just imagine having to go through all these bolts or even trying to install this heavy cast product. Now, as you can see, a panel like this will have as many as 30 bolts. And to work on anything inside the box, you got to take the time to remove all those bolts, and then you got to find a place to put them. Now, there are a lot of places where if you drop a bolt, it's gone. It's a pretty arduous process.
Well, how does that affect safety?
Well, Jim, one big safety lapse I've seen in the field is that once somebody finally gets all those bolts out and starts work, they may have to leave before the job's complete. Now, instead of replacing all of those bolts, only to have to remove them again when they get back, well, they'll just put the bolts in corners. They'll leave some of them out, or they'll hand tighten some of them. Boom, there goes your safety factor.
Yeah, that's a catastrophe waiting to happen. But with the STAHL system, you can be done and closed up in about 15 minutes and move on.
Exactly.
Well, so what about seals? Do you need conduit seals here?
Nope. Each of the devices inside are encapsulated. They're inherently safe, so you don't need any conduit seals.
Great. One less thing to fail. So now you've got options. And it looks like the STAHL solution can really save you a lot on labor cost.
And since it has universal certification, skid makers can ship those anywhere in the world.
Well, thanks for bringing those in, Steve.
My pleasure, Jim.
You bet. Boy, I tell you, this one right here is...
Oh.
You've been watching Out of the Box. To find out more about STAHL control stations, control panels, or any other STAHL explosion protected system, contact STAHL, 1-800-782-4357, or go to www.rstahl.com.